Yo, what's going on with y'all? It's your boy Convo and Marlo. You know what I'm saying? Today I got a special guest with me here today. Who do I have with me here today?
Hi, my name is OMOTAYO.
Okay. First things first, I want to ask you like I ask everybody else. How are you feeling? What's going on?
I'm doing good. The day's pretty nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can't complain, you know?
Okay. So far it's Thursday. The week's almost over. How's your week been?
Has
it been busy?
It's been busy. You know, I've had a lot of things I've had to do this week, and I'm traveling tomorrow, so yeah.
Where are you going?
I'm going to Calgary. I'm meeting with my agent and a casting director for just some work, and we're going to be talking about to see what's in the works and what could happen. So I'm really excited about that. Yeah.
Are you flying there? Are you driving?
We're driving.
You're driving.
Me and my mom. Yeah, we're gonna take a little trip, drive together, stay the night, and then a couple 3 days stay over and then see what happens. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So it sounds like. So for right now, does it seem like there's just more going on for you in Calgary than it is in E-Town? Or is it just, it just really depends?
I think it really depends because to be honest, there's not a lot of stuff going on in Calgary, but recently there's been movies filming there and shows filming there, that because of the way that everything looks, you know, they have a lot more trees than us and a lot more, I think it's hills. That's why they sync up with whenever they have a flood. But yeah, they have a lot more good scenery, so that's why a lot of things are filming there right now.
Oh, okay.
But normally it's Vancouver. Vancouver is the Canadian.
It's the hot spot. Yeah. Okay. So before I dive into those type of questions, which is coming up later, I want to ask you how you feeling first time on the podcast? Convo and Marlo.
I'm feeling pretty good, you know, like you said, it's easing into it.
Oh, trust me, within maybe 3-4 minutes or who knows, 10, you'll be fine. Everyone always starts off hands sweaty, back sweaty, all that type of stuff, but I promise you it'll be all good.
Yeah.
Is it what you expected so far?
I mean, it's cool, it's a natural, chill convo, a chill space, and I was expecting that. I think I was just nervous for, I don't know, just being in a place where I had to talk, you know? Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, a lot of people always hit me with Fresh Fits.
Oh, the guy who want to
the guys who are always talking down on women and stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of people always think my podcast is like that. You know, and I always gotta let them know. I promise you, it's nothing like that. That's why people are so skeptical to come on sometimes.
No, that podcast is insane.
Yo, I couldn't. Every time I listen to whatever video they have, it's toxic. I hear it. I'm like, who hurt you?
I know.
You know what I'm saying? Who did whatever they did to you?
That one guy who's balding or whatever. He's the one who I'm like, what's wrong with him? He's actually crazy. I think there was a recent one that he did where someone was like, this is complete BS, you should stop talking, this is rude, degrading, it's not even making sense anymore. I think it was another man, an older man, he was in his 60s or whatever, came on the podcast, a psychologist, and said that, and I thought that was quite nice. Yeah.
Now, for me, the weirdest thing this guy's ever said, I swear this guy just be coming up with shit just for attention now.
Yeah.
He was like, if your girl has Instagram, it's cheating.
Yeah, I saw that.
I'm watching this and I'm looking at the comments. I don't know if other people are trolling or being serious. They're like, dead ass. If your girl has IG, she's cheating. What type of validation is she looking for? If your girl has this, has that, she's cheating.
Yeah.
Yo, tell me you're single without telling me you're single.
Yeah. No, I think it's honestly, maybe insecurities. Because even everything he does and the people he brings on. Because some of the girls he brings on, sometimes they say certain things that it's why would you say that, you know?
Are dumb.
Yeah,
dumb.
It's kind of making us all look bad because we all don't think like that. And then he'll reach and start using those things and then go off and be like, yeah, you're saying this and I can use that in my next podcast. And she said this and, I don't know, I just think it's absolutely ridiculous.
One more thing I really don't mess with when it comes to that. Every day these niggas are using big words I've never heard of. They come on, they say a word that has 13 letters in it, never heard a day in my life.
And I feel they use big words to sound like they know what they're talking about. But even when they had, what's that woman? The woman who, she came on, I don't know her name. She's the influencer, but she's really pretty. Is she black? Brittany.
Bundle of Brittany?
Is that her name?
Is that?
The one who had child for the...
With the ball player.
The ball player. What's her name?
It's either Bundle of Brittany. It's Brittany.
Brittany.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, when he had her on, and then she was like, what makes you feel good about, tearing down women? And it's that doesn't make you look good, it makes you look worse. And, no one wants to be with you if you're, this type of man. Get out of here, you know what I mean?
Nah, but, long story short, I always gotta when people ask me what my podcast is, like literally when people come up to me, like sometimes when I go out in public, people are, oh yo, I fuck with your podcast. You know, they showing me love, I show them love back. Someone will come around the corner and say, hey, you do a podcast? And they're already like, so why do you hate women?
Yeah.
You know? I'm like, trust me, it's nothing like that.
Yeah.
You know?
No, that's good.
So now I want to start asking you, why are you here? What made you decide to want to come on the podcast?
I really wanted to come on the podcast to talk about like the film industry, but also the film industry with black girls, specifically dark-skinned girls, as well as like light-skinned girls too, but basically the systematic colorism going on, especially when it comes to booking roles and going out for roles and who gets casted in the show. They normally pick the light-skinned girl, and even though the role is like in the hood, trenches, she's a drug addict, they'll pick some light-skinned girl, usually, you know, and then even though it's like, okay, as stereotypical as it is, you'd be like, well, I'd see someone who looks like as the skin tone as Lupita or Viola, but they'll pick someone who looks like Zendaya or Amanda Sandler. I don't know if I said her name right, by the way, but yeah. I just wanted to come in and talk about that a little bit, as well as my own journey, but yeah.
Okay. So why do you think it's like that? You think it's because this type of look is more presentable to the crowd? You think more people are looking for that type of look? What do you think really gives off when it comes to that?
I think it's like this like idea, like even like being fair skinned, they just assume like it's more appealing to the eye, and they pick someone who is more, I guess, closer to white, because it's like, okay, we're including people, we're having that token black person, and we're showing them that we're, you know, Black Lives Matter, but still the person isn't, like, it doesn't include everyone, you know. I'd like to look at a show and see someone who looks like me, but no, they're picking someone who is just okay, just enough for them to be like, we've checked mark this box to like let the black people be okay, or Asian people, or whoever else, Hispanic, you know, they check off that box so they don't have those issues anymore. Yeah. Jeez.
Yeah, because that's low-key kind of, that's true, because there'd be some, like my girl and I, there'd be certain movies that we'd watch, and I'd look at a character, exactly what you was talking about, how they'd be in the hood, in the trenches. I'm like, why is this light skin? You know what I'm saying? Just things that you wouldn't really, that doesn't really fit the, fit what's going on.
Exactly. You know, like even like recently, you'll watch a show, like, especially like older things, right? You have to really look and you're like, I don't see any black people in this. I was watching a movie and I was looking at like the like extras walking away. All I saw were like white skin tones, which is fine. Like, you know, like of course, like during that time of those like early 90s and everything like that, I can count like who I saw and who was like the token black person. I think Gabrielle Union was in every 2000s movie as like
early
the
2000s,
she was like the black girl best friend in every one. You know, she was in Bring It On. She was in Clue. No, she wasn't in Clueless. She was in 10 Things I Hate About You and like all these other things, and they pick one person, but you have to really think about on set, like behind the scene, there's only one person that's black on set. Like, think of how uncomfortable that is. And you know, they don't bring enough black people in the, you know, in the ensemble of like who's the creative team, the directors and everything like that. All you see are white people.
I feel like when it comes to that, the director or whoever's the one that picks the people that get to be on, if they have just one dark-skinned person on, that's their version of racial diversity. You know what I'm saying? Whatever group they have, as long as they have that one black person, it's good enough. They don't need any more. You know what I'm saying? Which is crazy, because even to this day, you still kind of see that here and there.
Yeah, like even like Euphoria, right? We have Zendaya, we have some other people like Hunter Schafer, like, but then you're looking at the cast and you're like, there are no like black people, like, or Asian people, or the only Spanish person is Alexa Demi, and that's it. And then the rest are just white. And so people were like, oh, okay, like, you know, maybe like someone can do something. And then you look at who is the, you know, has more hands on what can happen. And there's Drake, who's an executive producer, and then there's Zendaya, who's also an executive producer, who has a say in who can get casted. And though it's not like a big say, being an executive producer isn't much, but you still have a say in what goes down. So she could be like, hey, I want to see someone who looks like me. I want to see someone who looks like a sister or a cousin. And they could bring someone on, like the sister, not the sister, but the mom is a little bit more brown skinned. And so they could even easily be like, oh, the sister has a sister who has a daughter, and then bring that show. Like, it's easy to write characters in. So the fact that they don't just says a lot. And the fact that Zendaya's not doing anything, and she constantly talks about how, like, I know how people see me. You know, they compare me to Serena, and they compare me to, you know, Megan Thee Stallion, and I can see the differences between us. You know, Zendaya gets called that she's, you know, a princess, a beauty, like, and then Serena and Meg are called gorillas, and you know, like manly when they aren't. You know.
This was like 2 years ago. I remember exactly the woman you was talking about earlier, Brittany. Brittany was interviewing Meg.
Okay.
There was at Coachella like 2 years ago. It was some big music event. You know what I'm saying, that was going on. Brittany was interviewing Meg. Yo, the comments was going crazy.
Really?
Meg looks like a nigga. Meg next to Brittany. Brittany's the woman that you would want. And it's crazy because I'm like, yo, even in this day and age, we're still talking like this.
I know.
You know, and it's always like, not gonna lie, the guys that look like me are the ones that are saying those wicked things.
I know.
And it's like, come on, you have a mom that probably looks like Meg.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then for you to talk like that, what's going on?
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy because they're okay when she's shaking ass, but when she's doing anything else, there's a problem, which is really sad. Because I think that she's a beautiful, and even the comments about, oh, I think that she's transgender, or like that, and it's not true, because she was born a woman, she is a full woman, but these things came out because people wanted to like just tear her down continuously, consistently, and they still do, you know, even with all the stuff going on with her now, but anything to tear down a black woman, a dark-skinned black woman, you know, they'll take a shot at. So.
Okay, so to you, what does it mean to be black?
No, I never actually have.
Like for me, okay, let me throw out. Maybe you might be able to get some. For me, it's to be able to overcome crazy obstacles that people of no color like to throw at us. You know, like example, if you and I walked into a store, predominantly white store, you know what I'm saying? You already know whatever they're doing, they stop what they're doing to look at us.
Yeah.
You know, for you to be able to ignore it, go the other way, and just do whatever you got to do. You know what I'm saying? Not giving it attention.
Yeah.
That kind of fits it for me. You know what I'm saying? Also, just being able to show who you are, be who you are, no matter what type of environment you're in. You know what I'm saying? Just being you at all times, type of stuff.
Yeah.
You know, even when it's not cool. Because when I first came here, black was not the thing you wanted to be, or like it was not the cool thing to be. You always got dissed for it.
Yeah.
But like as we got older, all of a sudden it became the cool thing everybody wanted to be. Especially when BLM came out.
I know.
Yo, everybody was on that wave.
The posting of
the black screen.
The black screen and like putting yourself out there, making it like what is it called? Where you post about the like Black Lives Matter, but you really don't care. You're only doing it so that people are like, oh, you care. Or, like,
just show that you care.
Yeah, to show it, but you don't. And even like the influencers posting about it, like taking a picture in front of like the George Floyd like graffiti and being like, it's not over until we all stand together, and then like walking away and being like, I'm not actually protesting. You know what I mean? Things like that are crazy. But to answer your question about what I think it means to be black, I agree with what you're saying. I think I also relate to that, as well as like making sure that, you know, I don't let the racism get to me, because there are days where it does, and I could be like, this just sucks. You know, things suck because it's like, I know that if I was blonde with blue eyes and I was, Caucasian, things would be a lot easier. You know, the system is catered to white people. And a lot of the time they try to tear us down. Every day there's a reason to tear us down. I remember even like the other day I was, but like when school, right before school ended, I was walking to school and, I had my cornrows in the first time, and I don't usually do that. I don't usually go to school with my cornrows, but I was like, you know what, like they look nice. My mom did them, I laid my edges, and I was walking, and this white woman with her dog, she was like staring at me as I, that like, where you can visibly see them looking at you, and I was like, what is this? And I didn't even know what to say.
And they stop what they're doing to look at you.
To look at you. And I was like, ew. And I was like, you know what, whatever. I put my hat on afterwards because I just felt like uncomfortable. Which happens.
Oh, it shot you down.
Yeah, it happens, where I was like, whatever. But, yeah.
Yeah, that's how, when I was, for this place that I work at currently, when I went in for the interview, they called me in for the interview because I guess my government sounds not black. You know what I'm saying? When I went in, I didn't have a ponytail at the time to hold my hair back, so it was swinging like this. I walked in, literally, the lady did this. The lady that was interviewing me, she did this. She looked at me. She looked at me again, and I know it was because of the hair.
Yeah.
You know, maybe it was the skin, maybe it was, but like I know the hair really caught her attention.
Yeah.
And it just sucks because it's like, my mom would always tell me, yo, cut your hair, people will stop looking at you different. I'm like, Mom, if I cut the hair, it's the skin. If it's not the skin, it's this, it's that.
It's so crazy that you said that. My brothers also have dreads. They have, they got it like, I think in 2015, 2014. And
oh, it's probably long.
Yeah, it's long. And so the conversation that my mom always has, you know, people are always trying to start stuff. And I was like, if anything, you don't know who this person is. You see a dark-skinned man and you're like, oh, he has dreads. He wants to fight. Like, he's ready to get into it. You know, my brother will go to the gas station and someone will start talking to him funny. And he'll be like, I didn't even do anything to you. Like, what's going on here? You know, and I think it's just because they see the dreads, they see the dark skin, they're like, you're a thug or you're a this, and I'm ready to handle you. But everyone, I find it so funny how people aren't more scared of like white people, and the reason is, in like history, white people are the people who have caused so much violence. Like, it's so crazy to me where it's like, I see white person, I cross the street. I'm the one who's like, I know there could always be the possibility of something, you know, of being called a slur, especially when you look at someone and you're like, they might not like black people, you know what I mean? And it's like,
I'm not even gonna lie, like, there could be a group of white people that are thugs. I'm more afraid of the ones in a suit.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Because those are the ones that will put you in jail Monday and go out like nothing happened Tuesday.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What type of microaggression have you ever dealt with? Like, this is, like, I'm gonna be getting into your acting stuff a little bit later. Right now, I just want to talk about your personal life.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? What type of microaggression type of stuff have you ran into? Okay, my bad.
No, could you give me an example, actually?
Okay, me? Okay, let me give you one for me.
Yeah.
For work, I drop off packages, like car parts. You know what I'm saying? There's this one spot that I go to, it's in Leduc. Okay. It's in Leduc. It's a Nissan spot where, you know, every time I drop off the part, I run into the same guy. He's talking to, let's say his name is Bob. Professional. Yes, I want you to know that I'm gonna have this by 6:30 tonight. You know? As soon as I come, what's going on, homie? Yo, I don't know you from nowhere. Who's your homie?
Yeah.
The first time he said homie, I let it slide because like, whatever. The second time he said homie, I looked him in the eye. Marcus. It's Marcus. There's no homie here. If you're going to call me homie, call him homie too. Call the white guy homie. I don't like that.
Yeah.
You know? So that's kind of the things I run into. You know?
I think with homie, I think like, you know, white girls will also call black girls sis, and like, and you know, that will also be very weird, and sometimes it's like, even like the slangs, like they'll try to use slang. Like, I'm very like I don't talk with like, you know, like hip. So when someone's like trying to like use slang with me, I'm like, what are you like, you know, talking about? Or like, what are you like trying to say? And sometimes like I'm late to the game, so I'll be like, yeah, you know, like, and so a lot of the time I feel like I feel so out of place because they'll try to use like slangs that like they've heard black people say or like things like that, and they'll try to use it with like me or, you know, other black girls, and then like it'll just be like lost in translation because like it's like, and even then, like, why would I do that with you of all people? You know what I mean? Like, and you don't like know me. I think I've also faced those things. Yeah, I'm trying to really think about it.
What I hate about that is when you don't give them the response they want, they look at you like you're the weird one.
Yeah.
Like, why aren't you indulging in the conversation with me the way I want you to?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I don't know. There's just a lot of things I see, hear, go with, like, face. I'm just like, come on, we're too old to be acting like this.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? What are some of the ways you feel like to overcome it? Like, let's say, like, I know you didn't really give, or you did give an example, but like that, what you just talked about, what's one way to overcome it? Like, ignore it, possibly telling them, yo, I don't like the way you're talking to me.
I mean, a lot of the time, I feel like I do call out when people like be acting weird. I definitely say something, especially when I see it. I think it's different when it's like with other people. I don't think I do it enough for myself, but I usually call it out. I'll say something.
Oh, you always call it out?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Maybe not for myself, but for other people. Like, it's like, why would you say that? Or like, why are you doing that? And I feel like they always feel uncomfortable once you do that, and they feel out of place. And I feel like it kind of like switches the trajectory of what the conversation was going to go, or how it was going to go. But sometimes, I'll ignore it, especially when it comes to like going into a certain store and like how like people will act or talk to you. I think it's better to ignore it. Like the other day I was at Sephora, right? Walked in like with a group of girls, like a group of like other girls, like white girls, Asian, and the one girl came up to me first. She was like, "What can I help you with? What is it that you need?" I was like, "No, I'm good." None of the other girls were helped. Like it seemed like they didn't need any help at all. Like they knew what they were coming in for, but I apparently didn't. So I was walking around and I knew what I was looking for, and I was like, "It's usually here. It's not here." So I was like starting to like turn around, and then she's like, "Are you having trouble? Like, what's the problem?" And I was like, "No, I'm fine. Like I'm good." And so then I carry quite a big bag, and it just holds everything that I need, my laptop, everything like that. So I was holding like all these these products in my hand because I was like they're really tiny too. They're the ordinary products. So I was holding them, and she comes in and she's like, "Do you need like something for those? Like you're not allowed to put those in your bag." And then I was like, no, like I'm just like holding on to them. And she's like, "Let me grab you a basket." Grabs me a basket. Then she starts like talking to me more. And I was like, actually, I'm okay. Like I understand. Like I know what I'm doing. And then that's when she finally like took the hint and walked away. But yeah, I don't know. You have to like really say something because it's like, why are you here? Like there's other people in the store.
A while ago, I'd say maybe like 8 years ago, I was way younger. I remember my dad and I went to a store. He was trying to buy me a tux, right? And kind of how your story went, there was a group of people over there, but he followed my dad and I. We go over there, he goes over there. We go over here, he comes over here. So then it got to a point where my dad, he came up to my dad, like, "Yo, what are y'all looking for? What do you need?" And I turned around and was kind of aggressive, like, "If I need your help, I'll ask for it, but I don't need it." I remember I was like, chill, don't talk to him like that. Because at the time, I'm like, yo, the guy's just doing his job. Why are you giving him attitude? But now that I really think about it, I'm like, this guy really thought like we were stealing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's crazy because it's like, no matter how you look, like where you're from, as long as you have this, everyone thinks you're stealing.
No, I agree. Like I think about like certain things that my mom used to do, and I was always like relax, you know what I mean? But I realized you have to have that kind of like assertiveness. Like, you need to know what you're saying and how you're saying it. And you need to tell them like, you can't like treat me like anyhow. Like you can't act anyhow, talk to me anyhow. Like I will cause like a scene here. And like, I think it also like sets like boundaries as well. And it catches them off guard. A lot of the time, like my mom, she used to do this and I was always like, "Why are you doing that?" But when people would stare at her, she would stare back. She was like, "No one's bold enough to keep staring at you if you stare back at them." So now whenever I see like a white man staring at me, I'll look at him straight dead in the eyes.
You stay staring.
Yeah. And then finally it's like, and like they don't want to stare at you anymore. So yeah, I don't know. That's a nice little trick.
Okay, now this is some of the things I really want to know. I want to get into your acting. Like, you know what I'm saying? First things first, when you say acting, I heard there's different types of acting out there. All I really know is just you go in, you perform, or you audition, and you just go on. They say, "Yeah, you're good." No, you're not good. I assume there's more to it.
Yeah. There's theater, there's film, and there's TV. There's also commercial. Those are the four that I think are predominantly known. For most, for theater, it's very different than film and TV. I feel like I've done theater auditions where you go in and they'll have you do a whole bunch of different things, which I guess is quite similar to film and TV, but I've been doing a lot of self-tapes, which is basically recording myself at home and taking the script and recording, like filming with someone alongside me and recording and sending that in. But before COVID, it was you go into the studio, they sit you down, you'll have like a camera kind of similar to this right here, and then the director sitting at a table being like, "So read with me." And then they'll do it a couple times. If you don't do it well the first time, or they just don't like it the first time, they'll just be like, "Okay, thank you for coming," and they'll ask you to leave.
Wow.
Yeah. But if they do like it, they might be like, "Do it differently." That's why they say never get too stagnant in how you act, or prepare how you're gonna act before you go in, because it's like once you prepare it, then you're not ready to like do something completely different and then just improv it or whatever else that they need. And so yeah, there's theater where you go in. It's very similar to the film and TV audition, and they're just like on stage with you. Like it's like they're like directing with you, and it's a lot more fluid. But when you go into a film and TV audition, you're like, it's absolutely rigid. Like you're scared, you're nervous, and I feel like it's just the way that they do it and how the atmosphere is. Like I remember once meeting with a director, and I like shook his hand to say like, and this was way before COVID, by the way. So I shook his hand to say like, oh my God, goodbye. He like looked at my hand and he didn't shake it.
Wow.
And I don't know. Like he just like looked at it. He was like,
Wow.
yeah, and then sent me away. And a lot of them are American too. So there's a whole different like way that they act. And I mean, not to say that Americans aren't nice, but yeah.
Cause some of the ones I've seen like on YouTube is where, let's say, the first character is named Joel and the second one's named Sarah. You're Joel. Joel talks, and then the director or whoever would be Sarah talk to you, and then you gotta act how Joel would act.
Yeah.
So would that be theater, or is that all of them?
It's all of them. You'll get a script and you'll break down the script before going in. A lot of the time they're cold reads, which is basically you go. They don't give you the script until you get to where.
No way, so you can't study.
You can't study.
Wow.
Which I don't want to say like you shouldn't have to. Like you can, but it takes a certain skill level to be ready right on time. And not be the person who's like, I don't know what it is. I'm not ready. And I think once you look at a script, you should be able to be like, okay, A, B, C. This is what my character wants. My objective. Like this is what I want from the scene, or what I want from the my scene partner. And this is what I'm feeling. And how I'm feeling is how I'm gonna start thinking about how I'm feeling while I'm saying these lines, so that it shows that I'm also thinking about what I'm saying and before I say it, because nothing comes like right away, right? As we speak, together. Yes, I know what I'm gonna say, but it doesn't come out right away.
Wow.
So yeah.
So I assume everything counts. So let's say, like I said, Joel and Sarah thing. You're Joel, but you're stuttering. You're stuttering as you're reading your line. Maybe you're nervous, or your reading level isn't up there. Do they just give you a few more chances, or they say, oh, you gotta go. This isn't for you.
I feel like it all depends on who's like actually like the person, like the director. A lot of directors are quite cutthroat, where it's like, why aren't you ready? But there are others who are like, take a second, like breathe. We're gonna start again, and then you're gonna do this, like however it is you're gonna do this. But I feel like I even like watching like I guess like X Factor or all these like singing shows. It's very similar to like Simon Cowell.
Go ahead.
It's very similar to like Simon Cowell, how like someone will go and sing, and if like he doesn't like it, he'll either like cut it, and you might have someone who's like next to him like Paula being like, what, actually like just go again, like take a second, and we can start over. And it always varies who you'll get. So yeah, I don't know. It's interesting.
Be honest. Have you ever ran into a director or like a crew that's made you cry? Have you ever had? Like you've cried in front of them, or you wait till you get backstage or home where people can't see you?
Yeah, I waited till like I was off the like Zoom chat.
It was online.
Yeah.
No way.
And so it was like I got a Zoom call back. I was like, okay, yay. And then there was something about how like I didn't have enough emotion. I don't even know what was happening that day, but like we were doing the scene, everything was fine. And then I was told, you don't have enough emotion.
Damn.
Like the emotions aren't there. And I was like, okay. And then we ended the chat and I just started crying, which is crazy to me because I was like, what do you mean I have no emotion? So, yeah, I mean, I've been told a lot of things, not always by directors. I've had a coach, not the one I'm with now, but someone who I left. He was this white man. I won't say his name, but I was with him in a coaching session. He was teaching me. And he had said that, you look 30. Like, you're never gonna... Yeah. He's an actor himself, by the way.
Whoa.
Yeah. He was like, you look 30. You're never gonna book any high school roles because you look this age. I'm all...
Said, like,
to my face.
Whoa.
And I spoke to other actors about it. So he said this to me. He was like, you look 30. You sound 30. You sound old. No one's gonna book you. You're never gonna make any... Like, you're not gonna book any TV shows or any movies. I'm just letting you this now. So he didn't say anything else. Usually, when a teacher or, someone, a director... gives you a note, they're like, this is how you can fix it, this is how you can work on it. He didn't say anything.
This guy didn't give
He didn't give it. And so I was speaking to other actors, they're like, no. Anytime a teacher or coach says something like that with no direction, it's honestly coming from within. It's his own insecurities, his own thing. He was an actor himself. He was in Jennifer's Body with Megan Fox. He was in a couple other movies himself. So and it's crazy because instantly, and another actor who I was speaking to, she's also black. She was like, when they say stuff like that, especially when you're a black girl, white men look at black girls as always older than they are. They make us look more mature. They in their heads, we're grown when we're really just young. And so never to take anything a white man says seriously, which I don't, but yeah.
Wow. Where does the passion for all this come from? Was it since you was young, or did this recently hit you? Where did it all come from?
I started acting quite young, around age 9. I really got into it. I just couldn't do it right away because I didn't have my citizenship. I was born on a plane, so I didn't get my passport.
On a plane?
Yeah, on a plane.
Where was the plane going?
It was coming to Canada. It was coming from it was on British Airways. We were over water. My mom's water broke, and then there was a pediatrician who delivered me.
I've always wondered that, like, if you're born up in the sky, does it, like, whichever border you're across, like, how does that work?
It took them some time to figure it out. They didn't know, so they had to talk to, because there was lawyers and everything, they had to talk to the pilot, they had to talk to the, airline, everything like that, like, where exactly were you over when she was giving birth. And we were over, like, water that connected to the British waters and also Canadian waters, so they weren't sure. So for about since I was a baby, so about 12 years, they didn't know, and so I couldn't travel, I couldn't do a lot of things, because, like, without, like, actual citizenship, you can't do anything. And then finally, they're like, you know what, like, she landed in Canada, let's just say that she's Canadian, and then I finally got
It seems like they just wanted to avoid all the paperwork.
It was a lot. They were like, it was like spending money back and forth, everyone was spending money. So then I finally got a citizenship, and I was able to pursue my acting a lot more heavily. I told my mom, and then we were able to get me into theater. I was always in drama, and then from there, it wasn't until I was 17 that I got my first, like, agent, and then when I was 15 that I went with a modeling agency. So,
wow.
Yeah.
So you, like, real deal.
I've been grinding. I've been trying to, like, get at it and, book, and I recently just booked my first ever, like, movie. I just couldn't do it.
No way.
Yeah, December
Congrats.
5th. Yeah. So that was really cool. But yeah, have an agent who's in, like, Vancouver and Calgary. He goes back and forth. My first ever acting in, like, film and TV agent, she dropped me.
Wow.
I know. Sorry. I was with her for 2 years. I met her after going to New York for this, like, international modeling talent agency thing. I met this man named Paul Weber. He was a director. Actually, now that you say that, I did meet this director. He didn't say anything rude. I guess it was just a lot more, like, realistic, in thinking of, like, how you want to pursue this career. He saw me. He was like, you got, like, talent. Like, you're not bad. Like, this is great. Like, he was just like, why are you coming here? You know what I mean? It's gonna be a lot harder to come here to do this than, staying in Canada. And everyone thinks, Canada, we have nothing here for acting. Everything's filmed here. Everything is filmed here. In Vancouver, like, we literally have everything, because, I don't know, they just don't have good, like, sites and things like that.
Apparently the Tipton, my fault cutting you off, the Tipton Hotel was filmed in Vancouver.
Yeah.
Like bits and pieces, like, not the whole thing.
Also
Twilight. Yeah, okay, I've heard that.
Yeah, like the trees, like needing those winded areas and the forest, like, views, they filmed it here. And so even Pretty Little Liars, the pilot was filmed here. They filmed a lot of things here in winter too, because it's just better. Like, we have and not to diss America, but, like, we have a lot more trees, we have a lot more venues, we have a lot more places that you can go to film all these really nice things. But the director who I met, Paul Weber, he basically told me, stay in Canada, figure everything out, and it'll, like, come to you. And at that time, I was really, really sad, because I was like, why don't you want to just cast me in this movie that you're filming? And I came here, figured out that, everything films here, so no matter what, I'll book something and I'll be able to film without having to wait for a visa or a green card, so I can film in, the States. And they don't give it out to Canadians so easily unless you have a lot of work lined up. They're like, no. Like, and they'll deny it. And a lot of people have not been able to do shows or movies because their visa was denied. The same thing happened with Ed Westwick for Gossip Girl. They were so close to denying his visa for Gossip Girl because they weren't sure if the show was gonna, like, actually be successful. So they're like, we don't know if it's gonna be good enough. They're like, no, like, we're filming a pilot. We're already lined up for all of season 1. Allow us to, like, bring him in, so he can film it. They're like, how long is that? They're like, a pilot films for about a couple, like, weeks. So they're like, okay, a couple weeks, but we're not sure if it's gonna go. They're like, no. If you let us bring him for season 1, you can bring him back, and then if we get renewed for season 2, then we know that we're gonna continue, like, going on. And they're like, okay. So they brought him in, visa, everything like that. Filmed season 1, went back home. They got renewed. for like 6 seasons, and he was able to stay in America for quite a long time.
Wow.
Yeah.
The one thing, back to the agent thing that I've always low-key also thought about is, when it comes to agent, is the agent the one that goes looking for like opportunities for you, or is the agent the one that does the talking for you on how much you should make? Like what's the whole thing with the agent?
An agent will like submit you. They're the only ones who have that access to submit. You know, a lot of people will self-represent themselves, but they don't get the access to those like really, really big movies or big shows that, you know, an agent has access to, you know, and it's building up contacts. A lot of agents are in this industry for a really long time, so they'll meet all these directors, these film writers, these, you know, executive producers, and when something comes around, they have the first, you know, pick. Be like, oh, can I bring this person in to let you see them? And agents only make 15%. Anyone who's taking more than 50% is scamming you. I once had an agent who, I was with an agency called Something About Marley here in Edmonton. Actually, they reached out to me, and they were like, oh, we're going to take 25% of your earnings. And at that time, I was like, oh, yeah, that's fine. And it was after I was dropped by my first agent from Play Management in Vancouver. And I was like, oh, you know, like, I haven't been doing acting in a while. I was pretty butthurt after I was dropped, and so I didn't really do anything. When they reached out to me, I was like, okay, sure. I was doing like a couple commercials with them here and there. And then I realized that they were going through so much situations. Like there was a lawsuit in process. Like like people were talking about how they weren't getting paid for their like the jobs that they did do. And I hadn't even booked anything, so I was like, this seems a little bit weird. So I was speaking to other people. I was like, how do I figure this out? So when I signed with my agent that I'm with now, I basically did it while I was still with them. And so when I finally signed everything, finalized everything, I had to make sure that I cut that contract, which was a year contract, and the year hadn't been up yet. So I was like, I said everything I could, you know, to like cut that contract. I first said, you know, my mom doesn't want me to act anymore. I don't want to act anymore. Actually, you know, I'm trying to quit. Like, it's too much. They're like, no, stay. Like, we can figure something out. And she just wasn't listening. So I was like, you know, actually, I found someone else. I want to be with another agency. And then she was like, well, we're not even an agency, we're a management. And I was like, a management taking 25% of my earnings? Like, that's not okay. She was like, no, we're in manage it, and so we have to take 25% of your earnings, which is a lie. In ACTRA, you can only take 15% of someone's earnings. So finally, she finalized it, and she sent me the paper, like finalizing our contract and saying that this is over. And I officially signed with Characters Talent. But like, you know, you'll meet people who are just absolutely insane. Yeah.
Wow. What are some of your dream roles? Like something you really love to see yourself in?
Ah, man, this is my goal. I want to play Princess Tiana in the live action version. Yes. Oh my gosh. I'm
not gonna lie. I don't know.
You don't know? Oh, Princess and the Frog?
Oh,
yes, I want to play Princess Tiana. You know, they've done Cinderella, they've done Beauty and the Beast.
Is that the one that kisses the frog and it turns into a...
Yeah, she's a frog for majority of the movie, which is why I'm kind of like...
Oh, you're the frog.
Yeah, she ends up being a frog after she kisses Prince Naveen.
Yeah.
And so I was like I was thinking, like, you know, how would they do that? But I feel like they could figure it out. You know, CGI it where, you know, naturally she's walking around and she's just human, but then when people look at her, she's a frog. So I think that could create something there. I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. That's my dream role. That, and if I were to book like a TV show, I really want it to be, obviously, like, I don't mind supernatural. That's why I really like that. I really like the supernatural, like Vampire Diaries, Pretty Little Liars, Gossip Girl. I like those shows. So if I were to do a show, I'd love to do something similar to Vampire Diaries. Yeah.
What about those that really like gets your attention?
There's so much character breakdown. There's like, they're not just what's written on paper. There's so much more underneath them, you know, and you'll get to like see that as the show goes on. I think what I really liked, even like about like Vampire Diaries, is that like you have like a show about two brothers who are in love with the same girl, but there's so much more to it. Like, oh, they're vampires, and then you go into it and you're like, they loved each other before, and then there's that reason of why they separated is because they became vampires, and then they fell in love with the same girl before, and it's just like history repeating itself. Obviously, near the end of the show, sometimes, you know, writing gets really bad, but I feel like the writing in that show, the writing for the whole show is so beautiful, creating such a really nice story. So yeah.
Okay, I have a question. This is another thing. So, let's say a crew comes up to you. They offer you money you just can't say no to, right? But it's a movie like Django. You know what I'm saying? A movie like Django you'd have to act into.
I don't know that movie.
Oh, you don't?
No.
Oh.
What movie is it?
With Jamie Foxx, Leo DiCaprio? Yeah. The slavery movie.
Okay.
Yeah. Was that not what it was called? Yeah. 12 years. It's like 12 years.
12 Years of Slave.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Would you ever
Do a movie like that?
do a movie like that?
You know, it's so crazy. I was talking to my mom about that, and it depends. They don't offer, like, only some, like, I feel like big budgeted movies, they'll offer, like, a therapist on set when you're doing movies like that.
No way.
Because, like, even, like, think about it. They're saying the N-word.
Oh,
And, like, people will say it with their chest. What was that movie Chadwick Boseman did with the playing, was it baseball? He was playing baseball or something like that, where they drafted him. And
and he was playing, like, the 20, like, old school.
Like 22? Was it called 22 or something like that?
I don't remember, but I know what you're talking about.
He was playing in that movie, and there was one white guy who was saying the N-word, but he said it with his chest. It was so like, I was like, you should not, like, I was like, yeah, you can, like, you know, he's an actor, you know, he's good. But I was like, you can see, like, even like when Sarah Paulson says like the N-word, there's like a little like stutter in her voice where you're like, you know that she's struggling to say that word. I feel like there should be a little bit like a, you know, a lot more people on set being like, hey, like, how are you doing afterwards? And talking to them, be like, are you okay? Like, what's going on? Like, even I think Chadwick did a interview where he said, oh yeah, after it was a little bit difficult, you know, like you start to, you know, feel like our ancestors a little bit, being able to like listen to that, and you know that it's fake, but there are moments where you're so into your character where you're like, this is real, like this is so real. I don't mind doing a movie or show like that, or a movie like that. As long as there's people, you know, to be like, hey, like, how are you doing afterwards? Like, therapists and the people on set, to the team, to be like, hey, like, what's going on? Are you doing okay? Just like, you know, like, to settle everything in the end.
That'd be something hard to, cause I feel like that was someone like me, you know what I'm saying, in the movie, and I'm doing, and then I hear someone call me that, I'd be like, yo, fuck this movie shit. I actually don't think that's something I could do. That's why when I watch movies like that, I'm the type of person where when I watch a movie, I don't watch the main characters. I watch the people in the background. I love to see what the people, if they're really playing their part good, you know? And for someone to just scream that word out, I always look at the people in the background like, okay, you're too comfortable with this. Why aren't you doing anything? But you also gotta remember, these are actors and stuff. Even though they're actors, they're saying like real words like that. They're saying real shit that just, I don't know, wouldn't be able to sit with me. So that's why, I don't know, I really wanted to ask you that to see like where you would stand with something like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I think like everyone, like, you sometimes forget, you know, acting is real life at the end of the day. Like, some stuff is definitely out of pocket, but a lot of things are real life things that we do every day. And so it's nice that they're, you know, showing that and they're able to, you know, educate certain kids. But I feel like I can't watch movies like that twice. Like, once I watch it once, I'll be like, no. Like, I can never watch it again. I just feel super uncomfortable when it comes to those, like, movies, like, seeing it happen. Like, even, I think it was 12 Years a Slave, I'm not sure, but where I think this woman throws, like, a book or something of metal at, like, Lupita's face. I think that was it, because she was in that, right? And, like, I was like, oh my god. Like, of course, like, obviously, you know, effects and, you know, a creative team and a physical coordinator and everything like that to make it, like, look real. But I was like, damn, like, you threw that so hard. And, you know, you watch it and you see this man who's, like, infatuated with the black girl. But he doesn't love her. He's just infatuated with how she looks. He's just, you know, interested in, like, she's so different. She's not what I've seen my entire life. Like, I wanna get to know her, but I don't wanna go too close. You know, I don't know, you know, and so things like that I just can't watch twice. Of course, like, you know, with acting, I've always said, you know, I'll do certain things, maybe not everything, but certain things, and I'll, like, see if, like, my morals are tested, if I can, you know, go through with it all the way.
When it comes to what you do, have you been in a, like, exactly what you was just saying, have you been put in a position where you have to go against what you believe in? And if so, like, what are some?
No, not even like what I believe in specifically. I think there was a moment where there was like 2 times where I was given an audition where like girls' titties were out, and I was like, what? It was like crazy because it was like one of those like old 2000s, like it was new writing, but it was like very old 2000s type of like show where like the guy is basically saying no. chicks are terrible, you know, just have sex with all of them and that's it, and like live your life, you know. It's one of those like very like cheesy 2000s, like the boy coming of age finally gets laid right before high school and you know he's top dog walking through the hallways. And it was one of those, and the script like honestly, kudos to actors who are able to like do well with terrible writing, because writing is so terrible these days, no offense, but the writing was basically like she comes downstairs after waking up. This boy who's 15, she's 17, is sitting down there drinking milk. She sees him, she's like, what are you doing? Da-da-da. They're talking. For a good like 10 minutes of the writing, they're talking. And then at the end of it, she looks down and she's like, has my tit been out this whole time?
Damn.
And then the boy's like, yeah, I didn't want to tell you because I really enjoyed this conversation. I was like, and as I was reading it, because, you know, I'm doing it, I'm like, I really hope I don't get this audition. And so it's like I do every audition because I have no place to be like, oh, I don't want to do it, or I reject this, because like I have nothing on my credits really, only just some things from here and there, but I'd hope, you know, to get something that's good. But yeah, I did that. I didn't really like it. Didn't do the greatest job, and I think that was because of like the writing in the script. There was another one that, you know, we're talking about not taking opportunities away from, you know, Black people, people who are transgender, the LGBTQ community. And I got an audition that was like, I think it was by Curious or something like that, where she would later, like, she started out dating a boy and then she would later date a girl. And there was nothing wrong with that. It was just that I was like, I know I'm not gay. So I know that, like, me doing this role, when there is a girl who would happily love to do this role, would be like terrible to take it away from someone else. I think it was me and someone else who I know who were gonna audition for it, and she was like, you know, I don't want to do it with her own personal reasons, but I was like, I wouldn't do it just because, like, how would I feel if someone took that role away from me? You know, like a Black girl role that I know that I can play, and they just give it to someone like light skin girl. You know what I mean? Especially if they're looking for someone who's dark skinned or whatever. So there's been moments like that where I've been like, you know, like, I can't do this role. I think I even rejected that one. I didn't even do it, but it's been twice that's happened.
Okay. Who are some of the actors, actresses that you'd love to work with?
Oh my god, sorry. I was like dry heaved. Rachel McAdams. Oh my god, I love.
You gotta explain to me. I'm not gonna lie.
Rachel McAdams. She was in The Notebook. She was in Mean Girls. She was in The Time Traveler's Wife. She's underrated. She's Canadian. She grew up in Ottawa, or was it Vancouver? I think it's Vancouver. But yeah, no, she's Canada. Yeah. So she's a great actress. She was also in The Vow. I think it takes a lot of like skill to be able to go to the places that she does. You know, she'll fall, like, you can fall in love with her, and you also like enjoy her falling in love with the person that she's acting alongside. You know, you can hate her. Like, I watched her in Mean Girls and I was like, she's a terrible person, but it's just all acting. You know, I feel like someone's an amazing actor when they can make you hate them or just their character. You know what I mean? I would love to work with her. I'd love to work with Keira Knightley. She was in Pride and Prejudice. She's a British actor, very good. Who else? I love Scarlett Johansson. I think that.
Hold on, my
bad. Scarlett Johansson, I think, is another one who I like. She's been in a lot of like Marvel movies, but I feel like her acting like techniques are very good, that she could be in so many other things. Someone who I also like is Sebastian Stan, who's a male, who I think is also really good at, you know, creating a world where you're not able to, you know, detect that this is Sebastian Stan at the end of it, you know, and like just feeling exactly what that person's feeling and getting into that character with them. I mean, like, this is their world. This is where I am. Saoirse Ronan, I'm so sorry. Saoirse Ronan, I don't know if I said that correctly. She was in Little Women, she was in Brooklyn, she was in The Host. But each character that she plays is completely different, that like she's able to embody them. You know, and I feel like she's also a very wonderful actor herself.
With that, like what we was just talking, I like how you're saying that, how earlier you can't really tell who they are. Like there's some people that you would watch and like, oh yeah, this is this guy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Do you feel like you might, well, to other people you might fall into that type of category, or you make sure you stand out?
I feel like I would completely make sure I stand out. I feel like my personality is very reserved, so whatever I do, I would hope that it's completely, you know, bizarre, that they're like, oh, whoa. You know what I mean? Like, be confused. I would rather confuse people than being like, oh, that's who she is. You know what I mean? I don't know. I hope not. I hope I'm not the person where they're like, oh, that's OMOTAYO. You know what I mean? Because then, like, your career doesn't go far. It really doesn't. Because then they don't pick you for a lot of things. You know, you think about all these big names, and there's certain people who haven't been in anything for a really long time because they are who they are. Like Lindsay Lohan. You know what I mean?
Oh,
an amazing actress. But I feel like even just her name alone, it makes it hard to, like, put things out there because there's so many things linked to her as well. But she is a really great actress. She was in all those early 2000 movies, you know. That's someone who is like someone you'd like to watch. She does well. There was a movie that she did with, I don't know her name, but she was in Desperate Housewives. She was a part of the scandal of the, like, college scandal where she paid money to get her children into college. And I think that's the person acting as her mother. And it was just a great, like, show, like a movie. It was such a great movie, just what they did and how they did it. And it was, I think she was finally, like, over 18, so it was, like, a very, like, mature role. And she acted it amazingly. And it's like, you didn't know that she was Lindsay Lohan in this movie. But with everything else, you know, people kind of, and it's very underrated. Not a lot of people know. I don't remember the name, but yeah.
Okay. So you jumping into this type of industry right now, like, you've talked about a whole bunch of the bad things you ran into, that white guy that said those type of things to you. What are some of the memorable moments, the things that you'll just never forget that you'll take to your grave?
I think when there are moments where I've met, like, a lot of, you know, new people who make, you know, this journey feel like okay, knowing that there's people who are experiencing it with me. Memorable moments, I don't know if I have any yet. I think I've you know, been able to interact with people who I don't know if this is really like connected with acting. There was an actress who I really loved growing up who, this is so, like, 2022, but yeah, she followed me on Instagram and I felt really happy about that. And now I, like, chat to her, which is really cool. Yeah, like, it was a really old movie. It was, like, called The Princess and the Pony. It's, like, old, and it was, like, a kid's movie. But, like, she was, like, what, 9 in it? And I remember watching that, and I was so obsessed with her. I was like, oh my god, this movie is so good. And she played the mean girl. And I don't know why, but there's something about the mean girl that I really love. But yeah, that's a really big memorable moment for me. Because, like, to think that someone who I really enjoyed watching when I was younger, now I can talk to and chat to, even though it's not even about acting, I'd rather not do that, but is quite a big moment for me, you know? And it makes me feel like an equal. I don't know.
With the knowledge you have now, you know what I'm saying, what's something that you wish you know now that you wish you knew back then?
Oh my gosh.
You know, something that just, if you knew it, you would have avoided this long time ago, or you would have went around this, you know what I'm saying? You just would attack certain things differently. Yeah,
no, I definitely would have start training right away. Like, to train right away. Like, I didn't train because I had so many, like I was like, I didn't have the funds for it. I was like, you know, I'm not going to spend money. Like, I know I can do this. I have the talent. And talent can only get you so far. You know, same thing with, like, basketball. You know, you train, you get better because even though you have talent, you know that you need that extra skill set to get it to the NBA or wherever. And so I wasn't training. I was watching YouTube videos and trying to self-help myself. But it was keeping me and restricting me from being where a lot of my other peers were at the time. Like, I was, that time that I first was with my first agent, I went on, like, in 2 years, I went on 6 auditions. Actors go on 10 auditions in a week. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Yeah. So in 2 years, I got 6. Now I'm with my other agent. I've gone on over 50 auditions in a year. You know what I mean? So things like that. So, yeah.
Wow. Is E-Town, like, a good starting spot when it not at all?
No, it's terrible here. There's nothing here. I did a movie here. I was an extra, and it was, I don't know, it was called The Haunted. Honestly, it was terrible. We should have been paid. We weren't paid. We were overworked, and I was like, what, 13? And I was like, my mom came with me and she was like, this is kind of weird. This is a little bit sus, you know, like, and you do a lot of things, especially when it's something you love. So she came with me. She's there. She's like, we'll give them food. We'll give these kids food. And they won't get paid.
Better.
Yeah, I mean, we got food for those. Like, it was over 8 hours. Like, and at that time, I know you're not allowed to. The laws, the child labor laws, you're not allowed to do that. But we were there. It was cool. I guess I was excited that something was filming here. It never got picked up, but I did the pilot with them, and I was able to do a couple scenes. And I was like, wow. But nothing else like that ever filmed in Edmonton again. So I was like, nothing is here. A lot of things do film in Calgary, but most of the time when I'm doing auditions and it's all filming in Vancouver or in Toronto, oh yeah, they love TAPP. So we're doing a lot of stuff.
I heard of a saying in the whole like filming industry is called "hurry up and wait." You know what I'm saying? Is that still a thing where
hurry up and wait?
Hurry up and wait. Where I think it was they tell you to come be on set at 7 a.m. You're there at 7 a.m. You don't get to do anything till like 6 p.m.
Like, you're on set for hours and hours doing absolutely nothing.
Wow.
Like, even, like, they never want to look for you. It's better to always be in, like, one spot and stay there and then be the person be like, oh, I'm running late, I'm still driving, I'm in traffic, or I'm almost there. It's better to just be there on time. There's so many, like, rules and sets that you need to, like, you know, follow. You know, always be nice to your AD, which is your assistant director. That's the person who gets you, you know, your trailer or your dressing room. Essentially, they could literally ruin your life and in the sense of like what you eat, because they bring you your food. They're the ones who, you know, make sure your trailer's warm. They're the ones who give you a good trailer if it looks nice, where you're laying your head most of the time. You know, a lot of people sleep on set, and you know, they, you know, read their sides for that day. Sides change every day. I do think it's better to be on time to be on set, because when you're late, it just turns everything off. You know, the director's looking for you. I was thinking of saying something, but like, I mean, this is a rumor, by the way. So, the Riverdale cast, right? There's an issue in regards to where you can find them. You know, when you have a set wrangler, so they're paying for someone to like a cow wrangler, the person who brings in the cows. They have a set wrangler for the actors because they can never find them. You know, obviously, you know, there's been talks about the scripting bad. They don't like the script. They don't like a lot of things about the show. It's been going on for so long. A lot of the storyline doesn't make sense anymore. So they don't care, you know, but opportunities like that don't come around often. So for them to be acting that way is kind of upsetting, but you know, they have a set wrangler to find them, to bring them to set and be like, hey, like, we're looking for you. We're looking, where are you? We have to do this scene. We have to mark it. We have to do that. And so being on set on time and being there and being ready to like do your job, because you know, imagine like we work at minimum wage jobs. We know what it's like. If I'm not there, they're gonna fire me. You know, it's very simple. But you know, people, you know, they start to be like, you know, they can't do this show without me. You know, like, so, but people are replaced all the time. So being on time, being ready, being late, and you know, to be the go girl, I'm ready, is better than being the person they can't find.
Is it true with certain players, or not players, certain characters that they tell you to act like you have to weigh a certain amount, you have to, obviously you have to look a certain way, but like I heard weight plays into that too. I don't remember what his name was. Someone who played, one of the guys who played Batman a while ago, they had to start, like he was only allowed a peanut a day, and this guy lost like 80 pounds in a year, and he played some anorexic guy. You know what I'm saying? Have you ever ran into where you have to change your physical appearance to play a certain part?
I've never ran into that like for a role, but I do know that for the industry itself, I've been told to make sure I'm fit, make sure I look good. I know that there's also, I don't know his name, he just recently played the new Joker. I think his name is Joaquin something. And he had to lose a lot of weight for that role, and he said that it took a toll on his mental health. Same thing with Jennifer Lawrence for the ballerina role, Natalie Portman, Mila Kunis. You know, they talk about how you put yourself, Henry Cavill?
I don't know.
Superman. Yeah, he also had to go through that too. Like, they made him fast So he was, so for 3 days right before filming the scenes where the muscles are like, you know, bulging out of his like, you know, body, they said don't drink anything and don't eat anything.
Damn.
And so for 3 days he was starving himself because it makes like your muscles tighten up around like your skin, and so it makes it look like you're super built and you're super fit, when really he's just, you know, starving and dehydrated. And so a lot of that happens, and I've never feared like putting myself to those extremes, but I feel like it's also super unhealthy. Like it's super scary to go to do that, you know, having to lose weight or gain weight, because it's so hard to lose weight, but it's also so hard to like gain weight and like or lose weight. Oh yeah.
No, I know what you mean. Wow. Kind of back to the whole color thing. Like I just have a few more things I want to ask you. Do you think white people run into the same type of discrimination as colored people would run into when it comes to roles? Like let's say, well, obviously we haven't really seen much of this, but do you think, let's say, okay, usually white people are the businessman, the smart one, the superhero, this and that. You think sometimes they would want to do, oh, instead of being the superhero, I want to be the thug, I want to be the tough guy, I want to be this, I want to be that. Do you think they run into the same type of things we run into?
I think they run into certain things to like an extent. I do know a lot of them are typecasted. You know, the girl who will always be put as the dumb blonde, or the girl who will always be put as the mean girl. You know, some of that happens. And who was it who recently said he was typecast to play in all these romantic comedies, and so he recently played in Magic Mike, which I guess isn't too recent, but he was in Magic Mike, and he was like talking about how like they literally put him in the place of, he's the romantic comedy guy and he wasn't going to get anything else. He was like, of course it was paying the bills, I had a house, I had everything I needed, but I didn't want to be the romantic comedy guy forever. You can only be that person for so long till you're burnt out and they're like, we don't want you anymore, we want someone younger, you know. And to put yourself in a place where you can get another role where you're not the person who they're just constantly being like, you're this, you're put in this box, and that's the box you'll stay in. You know, I talked about Rachel McAdams, and she's never been put in that box. She's played a high school student, she's played a mother, a sister, a friend, a young girl, a college student. You know, she's constantly changed who she is, because she wasn't typecast, you know. And I think, you know, white people also, you know, they face that. But I don't know if it's continuously hard, especially if you don't allow yourself to be stuck in that box. I think what's harder to cast, and I've noticed it a lot, is redheads, the gingers. And it's so sad because it's like they'll be cast in something of like, oh, we need her to look like this, you know what I mean? But they'll never cast them in anything else. And you'll see a girl who I think it was in That's So Raven and this other show called My Wife and Kids. There was this one redhead girl. She played in both of them. But they never cast her in anything else. They were like, oh, like and I think she spoke about it. Like she got TikTok. That's what everyone does now. She spoke about how, like, you know, it's harder to find roles as, you know, someone who's a redhead. I don't know. It's just not always casted.
So in the white people world, it's like the redheads that have the most
struggle. Yeah.
When it comes to that.
Yeah, and yeah.
Okay. The last few things I want to ask you is what drives you? You know what I'm saying? Well, like, what really keeps you going? You know?
The goal itself. But also that none of this is wasted. You know, I put in so much work, and then to stop at some point would be like discredit to myself, but also discredit to like my family. Like, my mom has invested so much in me, and she's invested so much in this dream, and she's honestly, if I'm not crying, she's crying. You know what I mean? And for me to give up suddenly would be like, I'd feel so terrible, you know, to do this to both her and I. You know, she supported this dream, and it's very hard for, you know, parents to support it because they're like, this is such an unstable job. But once you get it kicking, it's kicking for a really long time, you know. And so I know, I have faith, I trust in God, that it'll happen, and when it does happen, it'll continue to keep moving.
Wow.
So yeah, that keeps me going.
Okay. The very last thing I want to ask you is how's the money looking? Is it something, if you really wanted to, you could move out, live on your own? You know what I'm saying?
Yes, it can be steady income for a certain like project. Projects are they vary in terms of like what you can get. Like I look at what a good example is like How to Get Away with Murder, right? Viola Davis was getting $240,000 per episode. And that calculates to like 22.4 million, right?
Yeah.
So things, of course, like that's for me. I live alone. I don't have anything. That's a pretty good income, right? And then the royalties, right? Because it's still on Netflix. She's still making money every single day.
No way.
So I think that like that's why I always say I want to do something on Netflix or HBO or Primetime, because I know I'll still keep making money if I'm not making money. Like the money will still come in. The royalties I'll continuously make when I'm not filming. And then like you can, and if a show goes on for a really long time, you can literally say, hey, I want to make more. That's what the Friends cast did. That's what the Outer Banks cast did. You know, they're making 150 per episode in season 1.
Yeah.
And then season 2 came, they were like, let's make 250,000 instead. Like they were like, let's up it. And so they started doing that. You know, the Friends cast, one of them was making more, or the men were making more at that time. In the 90s, it was, you know, it was a thing. But then they were like, you know, hey, like let's band together and say we all want the same paycheck. And they were able to be like, hey, like raise our paychecks or we'll leave. And at that time, you don't want to lose these people. Everyone's loving them. Everyone's trying to have the Jennifer Aniston character. Yeah, they agreed. So it can be a very steady income with a good project and a good, you know, network that you're on.
Okay, well that's all I got to ask you. You know what I'm saying? Is there anything you want to ask me before I wrap this all up?
I don't know, like,
it's all good if there's nothing, you know?
I mean, would you ever consider getting into acting yourself?
Yo, it's crazy that you brought that. No, I'm not even gonna lie. It's crazy that you actually brought that up. Oh, my bad. Let me wrap it. With that, I've been thinking about it. Obviously, not as far as you're into it, but it's something that like I wouldn't mind doing, because I feel like if you put me in the right environment, in the right space, yo, I could probably put on a show.
Yeah.
But obviously, with the look that I have, you know, I was talking to my girl about this. With the look that I have, I'd probably be given a thug, be given a gangster type of stuff. And literally just a few days ago, someone that I used to go to school with, he messaged me. Him and his friends are doing like a little Top Boy like type of movie.
Okay.
And he DM'd me to come on. And of course I'm playing like the rival gang leader type of thing. I don't mind, but it's something I really like love to look into, you know? But the only thing with me is like, I feel like since I've never done it, and for me to just jump straight into it's either sink or swim type of thing. But it's like, I really feel like I can do it, and it's something I've been thinking about doing.
Yeah, I think that you could. I feel like it's very different for us because, you know, even like jumping into something, a lot of white people do that. There's people who were casted off the street. They're like, oh, I've never acted a day in my life, and then they get put into a movie. I feel like it's this, like, it could be the same way for us as well, you know? And I look at, you know, Dave Chappelle. I think that's a good example, but I feel like Ice Cube is a better example. He was casted as like thugs in everything, you know, and it happens constantly. And, you know, it takes, you know, he'll talk about it. He'll be like, you know, like, sometimes I have to, like, you know, question, like, whether, you know, this is a role that I want to do or if this is just something that is, like, paying the bills at this point, you know? And Dave Chappelle, he spoke about, I don't like being the black guy on set who they're laughing at, you know? It's either you're laughing at my jokes or with me, but you're not laughing at me. And so I think that you could do it. I think acting, no, acting's cool. I love when people get into it. You know?
I mean, yeah, like, it's crazy because I was talking about it for like a month and a half, and then all of a sudden this DM came my way. You know what I'm saying? The DM came my way, and I'm like, shit, I'm gonna give it a try. Like, I'd really love to give it a try, and it's the one thing about me, I love stepping into something new, but at the same time, I won't make myself look stupid. If it's something I know I can't do, I won't even bother, you know. But this is something I've been thinking about, and it's like I really want to be able to just yell at someone and pretend I'm hitting them, like add the sound effect just for show. I just, man, I feel like, have you ever seen the movie Juice? Like old Pac, like in '92, Juice. It was this Pac, you know who Tupac is? Yeah. He was in a movie a while ago in '92, and to me, this guy was such a good actor. Like, I literally hated him. I'm like, bro, like, I'm cussing on my TV. Yo, why are you doing that? Yo, he's over there. Like, you know, I want to be that type of actor where I make you talk to the TV. Like, where you're actually pissed at me for whatever I do. You know? And There was this one interview this guy was talking, or he was talking, like he was saying, after that whole juice thing came out, he had like people were approaching him like literally pissed at him, like, yo, why'd you kill this guy? Why'd you do? And I kind of want that, you know. I don't know. It's just something different. I love doing different things. I love stepping into new things. So who knows?
Yeah,
who knows?
I think that'd be cool. I think like even like Tupac, I don't think he had a lot of training himself. Like same with Beyonce, right? She got into movies as well, and I think when they step into it, especially when you have no, oh yeah, I want it to be like this. You just do it. You read the script, and you're like, okay. I feel like it's so much better when someone who's just like fresh into it and hasn't been like corrupted by all these like, oh my god, technique. They just do it and they get into it and it's beautiful. Yeah. And I think that's what also Tupac did, you know, like being, because I saw the one, I don't know if it's Poetic Justice with Janet Jackson.
Yeah, that's Poetic Justice.
So I was like, you know what? Okay, you know what I mean? So things like that are really cool. Yeah.
And I like, I don't know, like. It's something I've always thought, like, for some reason, I just want to yell at someone. Like, I just want to scream at someone. I want to, and like you said, I'm kind of happy that I don't know all that little technique stuff, and I don't have to change my voice. Because those actors that are from, like, the UK, and they have to have an American accent for shows, like Deshane and Top Boy. There's this one British dude, you seen American Gangster with Denzel Washington? There's this. He's in the superhero movies.
Idris Elba?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And this guy has American accent and damn near every crazy.
I didn't know he was British until like later. I saw him in The Wire, and I was like,
yo, you seen The Wire?
Yeah. I was like, oh my god, this guy's good. I seen an interview. I'm like, who is this British speaking?
No way you seen The Wire. You want to know what's crazy? Marlo, that's where I got the name from.
Really?
From The Wire.
Oh my god.
No fuck you. Have you actually seen Wire or The Wire, or have you seen like YouTube?
No, like and my uncle used to watch it, so I like view it like in the back. I know I wasn't allowed to, but I like view it in the background. Yeah, like those type of actors to me are like crazy good ones. Like, how is it you sound like this, but as soon as they say action, you sound like that. I know.
And like you sound like Deshane from Top Boy was in Get Rich or Die Trying with 50 Cent.
Oh really?
You know, he played Antoine. Okay. And this guy sounded like he was from New York. I'm like, bro, are you British or are you American? Yeah. And come to find out, this guy is actually from over there. You know, it's just, I don't know. Those are the type of actors to me that really get my attention.
Yeah, no, being able to like switch accents, I think it's like so important, so you don't get like put into like, oh, you're only British, you're only that. I think it's super cool. Like even me, like I'll botch a British accent. I will. And but like at the same time, it's like, okay, I can do it. You want to hear it? Okay, hold on, give me a second. Give me a second. I was chatting to my friends, and I was like, I really fancy a shag right now. I don't even know what I'm saying. Sorry.
That's actually good.
Oh yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
You want to hear mine?
Yeah.
Bruv, here's the food. That's all I know. All that other shit would just sound like my regular voice. Nah, I always try doing that shit. I'm like, yeah, let me stop embarrassing myself. I can't do that shit.
I once watched for this like theater audition I once watched like Outlander where like they're Scottish, and I don't know what else, please don't this, but like I watched that to do my Scottish accent for the audition. He was like, so how did you learn that? I was like, I watched a lot of TV. I watched this show for a good like 4 hours or whatever, just trying to figure out how they said like mom and things like that. I feel like it's we learn, like even like thinking of like people from back home, right? I'm Nigerian, so like people will be like, oh, I watched Empire, that's how I learned English. I was like, really? So yeah. Another
method of acting I heard is I heard Leonardo has done this where they follow what is it? So let's say you're playing a character, right? You follow that character around in his real life for like 3 months, 4 months, and you pick up his way of moving, his way of talking, like all that. What's his name? When Will Smith played Muhammad Ali in that movie, well, obviously he couldn't really follow Muhammad because he's
but he like really.
But like he really watched them, especially the videos. That he said there'd be days he'd watch the same video for like 12 hours. listen to the way he speak, the Louisville accent, the way he moves when he box, and those are like the type of things that I hear. It's like, wow, that's crazy. You do those type of things.
Okay, so when it comes to biography movies, that makes sense. You must like practice and view how the person like acted in order to like portray well, like Princess Diana and things like that, Marilyn Monroe. I think that that's beautiful to be able to be like, okay, I studied, I know how this person acts, talks, thinks, and I'm able to do that. But people like Jared Leto, no offense, who method acts while he's on set and freaks out his other castmates and people like in the crew is absolutely ridiculous. Like he played Joker, so he was being rude, he was being crazy, he started doing like weird pranks and stuff in order to like get people to be like to like get people to feel the way he wanted them to feel. And I truly believe that it's actually scary. Like even so yes, he played Joker, and the man who passed away, Heath Ledger, who played Joker, was also doing method acting. I don't believe it's what like caused him to, you know, mental health is mental health, but I definitely do believe it took a big toll on his mental health. He spent time away. People said and like Heath Ledger, who basically took that time away. He went away for, I think, to like a farm or whatever, and that's how he prepared for the role, and he studied and stuff like that. So I think method acting is okay to like a degree, but I do believe it's sometimes bad shit.
Okay. Yeah, when it comes, I'm not gonna lie, I learned a decent amount from you, because the shit I knew about acting was you go in, you read a script, you do what the script says in bracket, like oh, Joel has to act like he's falling, and you know what I'm saying, just things like that, and then they like it, if they like it, they like it, if they don't, next. You know, but obviously there's way more to it than just that, you know. But I want to thank you for coming on. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, is there anything you want to ask, or
no? I had a great time. Thank you so much.
Yes, no, okay. Let people know where they can find you. You know what I'm saying?
Like find me?
the IG.
Oh, you can find me on Instagram at OMOTAYO DURJAIE, which is spelled OMOTAYO DURJAIE.
Damn.
And my Twitter, which is OMOTAYO DURJAIE, which is also the same thing I just said.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Again, thank you for coming on. You know what I'm saying? It's Convo and Marlo with
OMOTAYO.
You know.